Welcome to Wading into Retirement. On this week's episode, I'm going to talk about my greatest fears of moving to Mexico. Welcome back to Wading into Retirement. As you know, I am Laura and Mike is taking a break today because he brought his greatest fears in our last episode. We decided to do this independently so as to not really spill the beans for the other one. Although our relationship is, as always, very open and understanding, it's still harder to talk about what is really at the heart of making such a big change. And it's not so much what we're going to miss, but what are we most worried about or have fears of in moving. So I'm going to give you my top ones, and in no specific order, that I've done some thinking about after watching Michael's episode. So I think one of the things I am most afraid of about moving to Mexico is I'm very close to my family and my friends. I have a small but mighty group of supporters, or tribe as you would, that support me in all the crazy endeavors that I seem to get myself involved in. And they're ready at the elbow. You know, I know they're just a phone call away. However, when you disappear for a year or longer, because that's what we're planning on doing, life moves on here. Things are going to change. My friends and family are going to be shaped by their experiences. And I know that many of them will come and visit, but many will not. And yes, I know we will get back to Canada to visit. However, it's all of those little and not so little occasions that take place in our lives with each other. I'm very close to my family. I had breakfast with my sister this past week. I talked to my other sister this morning. I text with them. We have events that we go to. I saw my niece yesterday. We did the promenade, had dinner with my in-laws and their friends on Friday night. Best friends we see all the time. And, you know, they make plans to go kayaking. We take our dogs over, they dog sit. And just being a part of the everyday life that it's the fabric of our lives that we are so woven into. And pulling that thread, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard when we come back. It's the catching up, but it's also the missing and the reflecting back on, well, remember when this happened, or remember when this person did that. And really not being there to witness it. So I think that is one of the things that I'm going to find hard, and my biggest fears is that it's just going to march on and I'll no longer be a part of that. I think the second fear I have is around health. You know, our health is very, very good. Healthcare in Canada is also excellent. Both Michael and I have family doctors. We're very fortunate. I have an amazing family doctor. However, going to Mexico, we are relying on their healthcare system. I'm entering, you know, menopause with all that that's associated with, and it's a little bit of an unknown. And if I need somebody to talk to, I can easily go to my family doctor and share my biggest fears. I also have an Ayurvedic doctor who is fantastic at also holistic medicine and prescribing things that help me. And I say prescribing things, we have more discussions, and a lot of it's common sense, but it certainly has helped my journey to good health. And it's very much preventative. Same with Michael. He's had some health issues in the past, and going to Mexico, if something were to happen there, all of our records are here. You couldn't just pick up those threads again of looking after us, especially as we age, we're getting more complicated. And when things go south, they really go south, and they can go really south very quickly. We're in a foreign country. We're not speaking the language that well. You know, how is that going to pan out? When we were down last time, Michael got very sick. And again, it was like, oh my gosh, what happens? He's there by himself. And, you know, I'm sure we will figure it out. We certainly have read a lot and we've spoken to a lot of people. But it's one thing to read about it, see about it, talk to others about it, and then another to experience it. I think the third thing that has been kind of top of mind has been, you know, my job. So initially we had thought we were just going to retire and head off into the wild blue yonder. I switched jobs a year ago. I enjoy my job as much as it is difficult. I'm doing a lot of training to be good at my job, and it is my independence. I know Michael talked about one of his worries was the financial, but for me it's the independence piece of it. Right now I am financially independent. I'm making a decent wage that I could certainly survive easily on my own with no help from friends or family. Not that I would ever need to, but it's still there. And for me, that independence, that financial independence and having that job security, that's not going to be there. And that is a bit of a worry. I'm young enough that I could probably come back to Canada and find another job, but that's a whole nother dynamic. You know, it gets harder the older we get. I do seem to be able to manage with learning a lot with my job, but a lot of that is through good health, meditation, yoga, like I would say I body hack, if you will, good night's sleep, vitamins to keep me on my toes. And I think once you stop working, or you're thinking about retiring, that kind of goes to the wayside and you get out of the trend. I'm in IT and it moves at breakneck speed. So my fear is if I do have to come back, will I be able to get a job in my field? And will I have the financial independence when we're away if something were to happen? And I know it's predicated on a lot of ifs, but we both are planners and it is something to think about. Another kind of a crazier thing is really the fear of not being able to find some of the amenities that we have now. So vets, you know, the girls are like our children, and if something were to happen to them, Tilly had TPLO surgery, which is the cruciate ligament was torn. It was a very expensive surgery. I implicitly trust our vets here. I don't know that I could say that, you know, in another vet. I'm sure they're all great. I'm sure they have wonderful vets. I've known my vet for 30 years. You know, we're on first names basis. I know his children. He knows my dogs are like my children. And when I say, what would you do? He knows that I trust in that. And trying to find a replacement for something like that is not easy. Not only that, I'm a little bit nervous about the isolation. It goes back to the friends and family, but here, you know, I like to sign up for different things. You know, it could be rug hooking, it could be tarot reading, it could be tea leaf reading, like anything that, you know, looks like it could be interesting, stained glass, it doesn't matter. Like I'm in, you know, sign me up, and I usually rope my peeps in with me. And doing those things on my own, it's not that I wouldn't do it, because I certainly would here, but it's just not having the people to do it with, at least at first. You know, I'm a very social, extroverted person, and this is going to be a bit on the isolating. So I think those are kind of my top ones. I know Michael's health is big for me. He'll find it isolating as well, but Michael is always good at finding something to keep busy with, so I think he would be fine. But if you were to ask me what am I most afraid of, I think those would be my top ones. And I'm hoping that once we get there, it'll all be groundless and I will have my best friend with me, so I should be fine. That's all for now. Please feel free to provide some advice of your own and hit that subscribe button as we are sharing our journey with you, and hopefully it will help you as well with your journey into retirement. Thanks again.